You know it's destroying you. You've known for a while, and you're still there. That's not love. That's trauma attachment. Not because you're weak, but because your brain has learned something dangerous. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar freedom. At first, it didn't feel like this. It never does. It started with intensity, with attention that felt rare, with someone who made you feel chosen, seen, different, and your brain locked onto that feeling. Because when something gives you emotional highs early on, your mind tags it as important, as something it refuses to lose. So when things begin to shift, when the warmth turns inconsistent, when the attention becomes unpredictable, you don't walk away. You lean in. You start trying harder. Because now your brain isn't chasing love anymore. It's chasing relief. Relief from the anxiety. Relief from the silence. Relief from the distance that didn't exist before. And that's where the trap begins. You think you're fighting for the relationship, but what you're really doing is trying to return to a version of them that no longer exists, or maybe never truly did. You begin adjusting yourself in ways you don't even notice. And you don't recognize who you're becoming. You say less, you tolerate more, you ignore things that once felt unacceptable. Because leaving would mean something your mind is terrified of. Accepting that everything you invested might have been a mistake. And the human brain hates that feeling. It would rather stay in something painful than admit it chose wrong. So instead of leaving, you justify. You tell yourself they're just stressed. They didn't mean it. It's not always like this. And you're right. It's not always like this. And that's exactly why it works. Because the good moments don't disappear completely. They come back. Just enough. A kind message. A moment of closeness. A glimpse of who they used to be. And your brain clings to that. It tells you, see, it's still there. But what you don't realize is that unpredictability is what makes it addictive. When affection becomes inconsistent, your brain releases more dopamine. Not when you receive love, but when you're anticipating it, waiting for it, hoping for it. That's why you check your phone more. Why your mood depends on their responses. Why a single kind moment feels so powerful after days of distance. You're not just emotionally attached, you're chemically hooked. And the more unstable it becomes, the stronger that attachment can grow. It starts to shape your identity. You begin measuring your worth through their behavior. If they're distant, you feel like you did something wrong. If they're warm, you feel relieved, validated. Your emotional state becomes tied to someone who is inconsistent. And slowly, you lose your sense of self. But here's where it gets darker. Because sometimes it's not just the chemistry, it's your past. If you grew up in an environment where love felt conditional, where attention had to be earned, where emotional safety wasn't guaranteed, this kind of relationship doesn't feel unfamiliar. It feels normal, even if it hurts, especially if it hurts. Because part of you learned that love and discomfort come together. That closeness requires effort, patience, endurance. So when you find yourself in something unstable, your instinct isn't to leave. It's to prove yourself, to fix it, to finally get the consistency you didn't have before. But that's the illusion, because you're not fixing the relationship. You're replaying a pattern. And the more you try to win that consistency, the deeper you get pulled in. You start thinking things like, if I just communicate better, if I just give them space, if I just don't react, and little by little, you disappear. Not all at once, but in small compromises, small silences, small acceptances, until one day you look at yourself and realize you've become someone who tolerates things you once said you never would. And even then, you don't leave, because now it's not just about them. It's about everything you've invested. The time, the energy, the emotional weight. Walking away would feel like losing all of it. So you stay, hoping it will eventually make sense, hoping it will become what it was in the beginning. But the beginning was never the full picture. It was the hook. And you've been trying to relive it ever since. The hardest truth is this: you're not staying because of love. You're staying because of attachment, fear, and the belief that something will change. But what if it doesn't? What if this is exactly what it is? No hidden version, no future transformation. Just this pattern repeating itself. At some point, you have to ask yourself something uncomfortable. Not why are they like this, but why are you still choosing this? Because the answer to that question has nothing to do with them and everything to do with you.